All right, so what we learned yesterday was sum of cubes. So sum, S-U-M, means to add. And so that was when we had two perfect cubes with a plus sign in the middle. And we went through a list of like the first 10 perfect cubes, but let's just rewrite those. So we have 1, it's 1 cubed. 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27. And then if we continue, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, and 1000. So there's a few ways that you can figure out the cubed roots. If it's one of these numbers, like if it's 64, well, if you count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 64 is the fourth number. So the cube root of 64 is 4. You can also use your calculator. Remember, it's math, and then if you go down to number 4, gives you the cube root. So this is it's almost identical to yesterday. The only difference is a couple of the pluses and minuses are switched in the formula. So if we have a cubed minus b cubed, so we're subtracting two perfect cubes, then it is a minus b, and then it's a squared plus ab plus b squared. All right, so the first thing we need to find are our a and b. You remember, to find our a, we take the cube root of that first thing, x cubed. Whenever you're taking the cube root of a variable, you divide the exponent by 3. You wrote that in your notes yesterday, but remember, you divide by 3. So this would be x to the first power, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. But when we have an exponent of 1, we really don't write that. Just x. And then for our b, we take the cube root of 64, which is what? 4. Very good. After we find our a and b, we can find these other three things. A squared, ab, b squared. So if my a is x, then a squared would be x squared. Then ab, that's saying a times b, so x times 4 is 4x. And then b squared, that's 4 squared, which is 16. And then all we got to do is put it together. Our formula is a minus b, so x minus 4. And then we fill in a squared plus ab plus b squared. Number 2 is very similar. So for our a, we do the cube root of m cubed. What is that? M. Good. And then for b, we do the cube root of 8, which is 2. Then we got to find our a squared, ab, and b squared. Well, a is m, so a squared is m squared. And then ab, that's m times 2, which is 2m. And b squared, that's 2 squared, which is 4. And then put it all together. A minus b, and then a squared plus ab plus b squared. Are there any questions? Okay. Number 3. A and B. So my A is the cube root of 216a cubed. This one has both numbers and letters, but you just take the cube root separately. So the cube root of 216 is what? 6. And the cube root of a cubed is a. And the cube root for b of 125 is 5. Then we find our other 3 parts. So first one is asking for a squared. So that would be 6a squared. When you're squaring something with both numbers and letters, you have to square them separately. So 6 squared is 36. And then a squared, well, that's just a squared. AB, that would be 6a times 5. And we can multiply 6 and 5 to get 30. And then I still have that a. And then b squared, 5 squared, is 25. So see if you can put all of these into the formula correctly. So you should have wrote 6a minus 5, 36a squared plus 30a plus 25. The only thing you really need to look for in the formula for are these pluses and minuses. Everything else is in the same order. Let's try number 4. Test yourself and see if you can correctly get your A and B. Don't just wait for me to write it. See if you can get it. For your A, you should have wrote m squared. Because remember, you take your exponent and divide it by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that's where I got the 2. And then the next one, oh, I put m there, but that should just be n, is just plain n. Because 3 divided by 3 is 1. That would have an exponent of 1, but we don't really write that. Just leave it out. Then we have a squared, ab, and b squared. So if I square my a, that's really m squared squared. If you remember back to your exponent rules, when you have two exponents side by side like this, you multiply them. So this would be m to the 4th. Then for your AB, m squared times n. Well, those are completely different letters, so you can't really combine them. So you just write them m squared n. And then your b is n, so b squared is just n squared. And then we fill in to our formula. A minus b goes first, and then a squared plus ab plus n squared, or b squared, which is n squared. Any questions? Now the last two are going to be just a teensy bit harder, not really. So 54 and 16. If you look at your list of perfect cubes, neither one of those show up on it. That is your hint that there is probably a GCF. So what number can we divide both 54 and 16 by? Any ideas? 2. Very good. So if we divide by 2, that leaves us with 27x cubed minus 8y to the 6th. Now, something that might help you, because I often forget, as soon as you write your GCF, if you want to go ahead and write it down where you're going to put your answer so that you don't forget it. So A, that is the cube root of 27x cubed. Cubed root of 27x cubed. Well, the cubed root of 27 is 3, and the cubed root of x cubed is x. So it's 3x. Then we have 8y to the 6th. So my b is going to be the cubed root of that, which is 2y squared. The cubed root of 8 is 2. And then for y to the 6th, we have to divide the exponent by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. All right. So for my a squared, I have to square the 3x. You've got to square both the number and the letter. 3 squared is 9, and then x squared is x squared. Then we multiply them. 3x times 2y squared. So you can do 3 times 2 to get 6. And then the others, those are just, they're different letters. So we just write x, y squared. And then for our b squared, got to square them both. So if you square the 2, 2 squared is 4. And then for our y's, remember you multiply the exponents. So it gets an exponent of 4. And then let's put it all together. I'm running out of room. So we get 2, that's our GCF, 3x minus 2y squared. And then in the other one, it's 9x squared plus 6xy squared plus 4y to the fourth. That would be like, you probably won't see one that complicated on the test. All right, and you've got one more. So try number 6 on your own. All right, so first off, you needed to factor out the GCF, which was 2. So when you divided by 2, you were left with x to the 9th minus 27. Okay, and then from there, you could find your a and b. So your a, that's the cube root of x to the 9th. And remember, you divide your exponents by 3. So you would get x to the 3rd power. And the cube root of 27 is 3. So your a squared, you multiply your exponents to get a to the 6th. And then your ab, when you multiply the 2, you get 3x cubed. And then your b squared, 3 squared is 9. So there's your final answer.